I'd say that wheel finally gave out. A lot of calcium laying on the floor now. Still waiting on parts for the head, which means the engine is still at a standstill. Welcome back once again. We actually got some parts in the mail, unfortunately not for the head yet. However, we got a lot of parts that we should be able to continue working on the rear end, and this actually turned out really nice as far as paint on the steering column. I do have to tighten a few things up here yet. Majority of all this is tightened, you know, so steering is where it's at. So rear end is starting to take shape. We can start to put some of this back together. So we'll go over the parts, what I did get today, and then we'll probably see what we can put on, and we'll probably rip into maybe getting this 3-point cylinder taken off. So first thing here we have is the hydraulic filter, because I'm going to change all that right away. And then in this box we have a lot more things. So there we have a tack cable, choke cable, there's our new oil filter, temperature gauge, here's our new fuel gauge, fuel sending unit I should say, there's a new fuel gauge, tachometer gauge, and like an idiot, I don't even know what happened, but I ordered 2 of them. I don't know how 2 of them ended up in the cart, so one of these needs to go back, so I'll get reimbursed $60 some for that. Might be oil pressure, bunch of different gauges in here. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, idler pulley, that's for the hay bind. We actually needed that. Amperage gauge. So we got a lot of different things. Carburetor kit. You know, we'll rebuild the carburetor. So, a bunch of different things, a bunch of different parts. And it just so happened the UPS man stopped by. See what we got in here. Ah. Intake valve, 3 of those. So I'm guessing 3 there, probably 3 in that box. Nothing like a nice brand spanking new gauge. Slowly but surely getting somewhere. It's going to be nice to have all new gauges. Hopefully all new working gauges. In the midst of putting some of the gauges in, I started reassembling the rear end here. And I think I can probably put the seat back on at this point. I don't want to mount the cluster on there. I started to earlier, but it's going to be easier to access the wires when it's not mounted up there and you have the steering column in the way. Got on new cotter pins for those, so those should be good to go. Those are all tied in, everything's tightened up. And on the other side, I manufactured a plate. I shouldn't say manufactured. It was actually an old gauge, one of the old gauge holders, and I just cut the L's off and screwed it fast because this is rotted and got pretty tight, so see how that works out. I'm not sure, but I don't know how much clearance is there at the end, but I might have to trim the seat around those. Back here it shouldn't be an issue, but you can see there's a little notch there, so I'll set it up there. Maybe I'll take a measurement before I even bother doing that and see if I need to do anything. Hopefully I don't, that would be ideal. Turns out I did have to cut it, which is what it is. I think I'm gonna trim this side too, just a little bit. That way I have a little bit of wiggle room. But because of those nuts, it's definitely bigger and it was taller, so. Unfortunate, I had to cut it, but it is what it is. It should fit though. I broke my triangle, so that's unfortunate. Oh no! I'm gonna be honest, I screwed up. Somehow, I'm not sure how, and I should have mocked it up before I put everything together, but this, as you can see, sticks out past the edge that much, and that's that much too far. So the seat hits and the bolt holes only come to about there, so yeah, I either got to try and cut more off of the block side or somehow cut some off of this side, which I think, I don't know what to say, because you're not really going to be able to get at this nut to loosen it. So yeah, that's not good. This side would ultimately be the better side because this got a lot cleaner and a lot smoother, whereas this side was a little bit more pitted. And in doing that, since I can't get access to that to pop that off, it involves ripping everything that we just went and put back on, including the steering assembly, everything. Everything's got to come back off, basically, so I can... Now, I may be able to get at the stuff, since I have new bolts in there, maybe with a wrench, you know, just by popping these back off. I don't know. Oh, that sucks. Seat is installed with the help of a ratchet strap. And it was only sticking past, you know, like a ½ inch further than that. So with those being flexible lines now, I kind of just pulled it in and now they kind of curve a little bit, which, yeah, is that really how I would have wanted it? No, not really, but I think it's gonna work anyhow. And you know, it is what it is. I should have checked it closer, but it's gonna work that way. So I managed to get everything. The ratchet strap was just easier for me to, you know, instead of needing 4 hands, I could tighten that, pull it up to where I needed to, instead of holding it, and then I could put the bolts in. So that saved a lot of time, one step closer. And then you have this poor thing that I just neglected. Looks so good with all new gauges in here. And like I said before, having these all work is gonna just be 10 times better. Definitely gonna like that. I can't mount this yet because I didn't hook up the fuel gauge. I still have the old one hanging here, but I have the new one installed and I have to get the light switch installed and the wires ran for the new lights, which are gonna mount here, and I don't have those yet. So that'll just kind of sit here for now. And I think I should probably jump on trying to remove that cylinder back there so I can rebuild that. And we got to try and figure something out for the fenders that I would have put on here. That could be interesting because the way that they're built, they're actually supposed to sit here and mount on these holes. Now, there's another bracket system that comes up here, and that's what mounts this 3-point fast. So I don't know if those would kind of, you know, ride up in between. I don't know. I'll have to experiment with that. So here is the dilemma. I put on the one bracket for the 3-point, and here's your mounting holes, you know, to mount for the Fender. Now this was kind of custom made. Something was a little manufactured, and which is fine, it worked. These were mounted on the 504, but now with having these two on here, and I think I gotta take that one off, but with having those on here, that kind of creates a problem where now you can't really get access to those. So I'm not really sure what I want to do there, because there's not really a good way to go about it. I thought about manufacturing a plate or something, thought about maybe cutting like steel risers or something and having it sit that way. I don't really know the best plan of attack there to try and get that to sit on there, or, you know, manufacture something. I'll have to think about that for a little bit. And if you guys come up with ideas, or you have some sort of idea, be sure to put it in the comment section below, because anything's gonna help me at this point. In saying that, number one, I just like the look of having fenders on here. Number two, I'm not a huge fan of not having fenders and just having an open rotating tire right next to you. Because a lot of times when I turn around, I put my hand, you know, over on the fender. It's just kind of nice to rest your hand there. So I don't know. I guess that's just what I'm used to. Well, everything at some point always has to fight you. Can't get that pin out for the bottom. The top one slid right out, not a problem. But I can't get that one punched through, so it's binding on something, and I'm not really sure what. And I missed and hit my hand, so that's it. I'm done. Is what it is. Come back to it. New plan of attack. Try and get that out. The rear end is finally taking shape. It's looking like a tractor again. And obviously, like I said, I got to figure out some way to mount these, and then these are going to get repainted, because these are going to look trashy on, you know, obviously you can tell a big difference in the paint. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I hope you're enjoying this series of rebuilding the Farmall 460. I know I'm having fun. It's definitely taking some time to do, but that's fine as long as everything works out in the end. Doesn't matter how much time it took. So we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Let's keep pushing. Let's get there. Share the videos. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Next video, we're gonna start putting the engine back together, because we do have the valves, so I'm definitely excited for that. I hope you guys are enjoying. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.